Hello and welcome to Concordia Today. I'm Jacklin Liu.
And I'm Sherrie Claridge. Coming up later in the show, we'll have an interview with John Dore, head coach of the Concordia men's basketball team. We'll also have a report on the Loyola Daycare Center. But first, the news.
Concordia students may have to pay more to get less. The three finalists in Concordia's search for a new rector agree that tuition hikes seem inevitable. The university must slash $10 million from its budget next year, half because of funding cuts from the Quebec government and half due to reduced enrollment and the university's huge debt. Dr. Donald Baker is currently Vice President Academic at Wilfrid Laurier University in Ontario. He suggested that an average tuition increase of $277 per student would offset provincial cuts. The other two candidates agreed and added that active efforts must be made to recruit good students. By this they mean foreign students who pay higher tuition fees and graduate students who draw more government funding.
The end of the school year is in sight, and the annual summer job hunt is just heating up. Paul Gott examines the prospects for Concordia students.
The signs of spring are everywhere, and they spell good news for job hunting students. Some of those signs are at Concordia's Career and Placement Service, or CAPS. Here, students can take advantage of many services to help them find a job. Denise Beamish is one of more than 3,000 students who register with CAPS each year.
I think, though, you have to do more than just look at the board. Something that they stress in their workshops and when you talk to them is tapping into the hidden job market, networking, those kinds of things. So this is one.
All the signs point to students like Denise having an easier time finding employment this summer. Colleen Bronson is a placement officer with CAPS.
Since January of 1994, in other words, the last 16 months, the job opportunities have just skyrocketed. So finally, the economic comeback that we keep reading about and hearing about is starting to translate into jobs. So certainly the opportunities for the students are increasing and the quality of the jobs are increasing. So there are a lot more professional type jobs.
Back at the job board, Denise has found a hot prospect.
Le groupe de levée de fonds universal. Hire me.
Students looking for a part-time job or a full-time career can register with the Concordia Career and Placement Service. It's located at 2070 Mackay, across from the Hall Building downtown. This is Paul Gott for Concordia Today.
The Career and Placement Service will be hosting a second career day this year at Concordia. Called Wired, it will concentrate on the influence of new technologies on all types of jobs. It will be held in the Hall Building mezzanine on April 5th.
The Concordia Student Union election campaign is underway. Up for grabs are the position of president and 30 seats on the Council of Representatives. There are 5 candidates running for president. They are Jonathan Carruthers, Raymond Hall, Lana Grimes, Lee Pemberton, and Christos Kardiogiannis. The election takes place from March 28th through the 30th. The winning candidates take office June 1st.
But student government isn't the only thing being voted on. They're holding a referendum to decide whether or not to become part of the Canadian Federation of Students. The CFS is an alliance of 65 student associations that lobbies federal and provincial governments. Those in the faculties of Fine Arts and Arts and Science are eligible to vote in the referendum because they are members of Concordia's Students' Union. If the referendum passes, students will pay an additional $3 fee per semester.
Concordia students will also be voting to approve their own Bill of Rights. The bill outlines fundamental rights and freedoms. Some include academic rights, freedom from discrimination and unwanted sexual practices, and freedom of expression, opinion, and peaceful assembly.
A group of leisure studies students wanted to mix charity with coursework. As part of a class requirement, they produced a fashion show and donated the entire proceeds to the Children's Wish Foundation. Thomas Mall was there.
It's an opportunity to see what the fashionable will be wearing next season. During this benefit show, the leisure studies students wanted to give us a peek at some of the fun and some of the sun coming up this summer. Modeling and production for this event was done by the students as a final project for a class at Concordia.
The name of the fashion show tonight? To Fulfill a Dream. And that's what the leisure studies students have done, raising $1,200 to bring dreams to kids. For Concordia Today, I'm Thomas Mall.
Some Concordia Fine Arts students found a way to show their work outside the university in a real gallery for next to nothing. Adriana Brasileiro explains.
Sexuality, childhood, political statements. Multiculturalism. There was a bit of everything at the art opening organized by 18 fine arts students in a graduating drawing class. For only $14 each, the students rented the space for 2 weeks at ArtCore, a new alternative gallery in town. The show gives students a chance to be recognized in the real art scene. For Concordia Today, this is Adriana Brasileiro.
ArtCore is located at 265 St. Antoine West. For more information, call 277-7599.
And in other news, it doesn't pay to get sick at Concordia. Monique Deschamps lost her job as a technician in the ceramics, fibers, and sculpture department after taking a leave of absence due to illness in the fall semester. She had worked for the university for 8 years and had planned on returning to her job in January. But when 1995 rolled around, the university informed her that the technician that had replaced her for 4 months was there to stay. The university has argued that Deschamps is a seasonal employee and works under a renewable contract. Therefore, there was no guarantee that she would get her job back. Deschamps has filed 2 grievances against the university.
Tuesday night is Folk Night at the Hive, the Loyola Campus Center pub. The event is a chance for amateur musicians to take advantage of an open mic and to show off their acoustic talents. Katie Schmidt has this report.
Well, don't you see, 'cause Tuesday night was the greatest night I've ever known.
It's Tuesday night, and that means a chance for those bloody nodules to get up and perform. But just because they're up on stage doesn't mean they're confident.
Cold day in December, one all alone.
Nervous. But we don't show it. Yeah, we don't. We try not to show it. We never let them see us sweat, you know.
That's even harder when it's your first time on stage, a common occurrence on open mic night. But in the end, it's all about music, not lack of experience. Folk Night runs every Tuesday at the Hive, so if you know of any undiscovered talent walking the halls of Concordia, get them to come on out and share their stuff with an appreciative audience. They've got till the end of the term. For Concordia Today, I'm Katie Schmidt.
Concordia's got a well-known professor teaching creative writing these days. But Neil Bisundat is more than just a teacher. He also writes books. His latest one was a first-try attempt at nonfiction. The bestseller caused a controversy because it attacked our government's $29 million multiculturalism policy. With more, here's Diane Kouzian.
Neil Bisundat is a writer who doesn't mince words. His most recent book, Selling Illusions, The Cult of Multiculturalism, created a backlash against him by advocates of the government policy.
Where it did become a little unsettling was when people started calling me racist names. On national television, I was called a coconut by one man. Brown on the outside and white on the inside. It seems that you cannot question a policy like multiculturalism without people calling you names.
In the book, he criticizes the government for encouraging ethnic differences instead of promoting a common Canadian identity.
The idea that we are all in one way or another victims of one kind or another, that we all have to retreat behind protective walls of some kind. And in Canada, the protective walls that we seem to have legitimized tend to be ethnic ones.
Critics say Bisundat isn't qualified to write about multiculturalism, but he says he speaks from experience.
It does not help us growing up and living in this country and creating lives in this country to see other Canadians who may be different from us in color or religion or language as simply other Canadians, but it helps us to see each other as hyphenated Canadians. And I have real problems with the hyphenation because I'm not sure what it means. I've been called a Trinidadian Canadian, a West Indian Canadian. I don't know what those things mean. I left the Caribbean over 20 years ago.
For Concordia Today, I'm Diane Kouzian.
That's the news for this week. Stay tuned for an interview with John Dore, head coach for men's basketball, and a report on the Loyola Campus Daycare Center. For Concordia Today, I'm Jacklin Liu.
And I'm Sherrie Claridge. Thanks for watching.
Heart disease and stroke are Canada's #1 killer. Your donations fund education and medical advances that save more lives each year. Thanks to research, he has a pacemaker. She has a grandfather. Help give someone a second chance. Please give generously to the Heart and Stroke Foundation.
I'm presently at Loyola's daycare center, La Garderie Les Petits Profs. This daycare provides care for small children while their parents are studying or working at Concordia University.
This daycare center is located on Belmore Street, right next to Vanier Library. There are 48 children between the ages of 3 months and 5 years. They are all separated in groups of 5 with children of their age.
In French. This is Mama in French.
In French?
And now I'm trying to do Papa.
You think you're going to be able to do it?
Yeah.
Yes? Do you like to play with your friends here?
Yeah.
You have a lot of friends at the daycare center?
Yeah, it's very fun playing with them.
It's very fun?
Yeah, and we also clean up when it's time to clean up.
I met the director of the daycare center, Mrs. Susan Evans. I asked her what is the philosophy of the daycare.
I guess our hope is that we provide a home-like atmosphere for the children. We want it to be a very family-oriented daycare center that provides a home away from home, if you will, for working parents and studying parents of the university. And basically that we focus in on all aspects of the child's development, the cognitive, social, emotional, and physical needs of the young child. That's our mandate.
A full-time cook works for the daycare center. She prepares lunch during the day, as well as snacks in the morning and in the afternoon.
I cook, I prepare the lunches for the children, I make the menus, I shop for them, I see what is better for them to eat, and I have to consider younger children that they're from 6 months they start eating to 5 years old. And I have to check in also allergies. We have children with allergies, which is sometimes quite, you have to think very carefully your menu. We have children that they're allergic to nuts, to citrics, to lactose. They have lactose intolerance. So we have to be very careful with our menus.
What about the teachers? Are they qualified?
Yes, actually, all of the educators here are qualified. They either have an attestation, a DEC, or a university degree in early childhood. And, I mean, definitely for the baby room, it's a different type of skills that you're looking for in a baby room educator. Very, very nurturing character. And there's a lot of staffing in the infant room. We have 2 teachers rather than 1 teacher in that group.
We do activities that promote cognitive, physical, creative development and outdoor play, as well as activities inside such as art and drama and cooking activities and stuff like that.
They try to balance structured activities with free choice activities and active play with quiet play.
Yeah, say cuckoo. That's what always says. Can you say mama?
Mama.
Yes. Can you say dada?
Mama.
Parents are very happy with the daycare.
I think it would be a real loss to the university if the daycares were closed. It's a tremendous service. Really, workplace daycare is the ideal for the parent, because the parent, particularly of very young children, feels so much safer and so much more connected with their child if their child is physically close to them.
Do you think it's essential to have a daycare center for a university?
Yeah, I really do. I think it provides, because we have a lot of parents who are students, and I think it gives them the opportunity to get their education, which is really important today.
All the parents are connected with the university. 50% are non-academic staff, 25% students, 25% faculty. And what about the cost?
For this year, it's $22 a day to have your child in our infant room and $21 a day in all of the other rooms. Parents who are below a certain family income can apply for government subsidy, and for students particularly, this is over and above the loans and bursaries that they get. This is an added amount of money just for their child in daycare.
Hold on to the banister. You're going downstairs? Yeah. What are you going to do downstairs? I'm getting ready to go skating. You're going skating? Outside? Yeah. You like to skate? You like to skate? And my mommy's coming with me. My daddy's coming. No, he's not. Yeah, he's not coming, baby.
Are you affiliated with the daycare center downtown?
We're not really affiliated. We're both government-subsidized nonprofit corporations that run completely independently of each other, but there is enough business for both of us that we're certainly not in competition. So we have a relationship because the director of that daycare and I have a relationship, but legally there's really no connection.
You receive some money from the university also?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We receive money from the university, and we also receive from the provincial government.
From Loyola's Daycare Center, I'm Alexandra Paget for Concordia Today.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Sherrie, Claridge. My guest today is John Dore, head coach of the Concordia men's basketball team. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Sherrie. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Congratulations, first off, on a successful season. The team played some great basketball throughout the year, as well as in the tournament in Halifax. What would you attribute this success to?
Well, I think that we have good people in the basketball program, first of all. I think when we're recruiting, we look for good citizens, those who can be successful academically, and then those who can be successful athletically. And I think the work ethic also has a lot to do with it. Unlike maybe some other schools, we expect to win. Other schools might hope to win.
And are there any special techniques that you use in your coaching to get the team to gel?
I think there's a number of different things we do. We break games down into the smallest situations possible. And when we practice early in the year, we might scrimmage for 10 minutes, and by the end of the year, we're having 5-minute, 3-minute, or 1-minute scrimmages and going into special situations. And hopefully when the game is on the line and you go through these things 100 times before, everybody knows what to do, and the team will gel.
And is there any special coaching techniques that you use? How would you describe your coaching style?
I'd say primarily a player's coach. I want the players to have fun when they're playing. We try to, I guess I would describe it as that I teach, I create, and I motivate. And that I want the players to enjoy playing, and that's why that there's no scholarships at Concordia University, athletic scholarships, and they're there because they enjoy it. We want to make it enjoyable for them, yet we want them to get the most out of their ability that they can. So a player's coach, let them have some fun and let them run up and down and play the style of game that they like.
You talked about motivation. How important, in your opinion, are pre-game pep talks?
In my opinion, pre-game pep talks are not very important at all. It's more in the preparation. It's like going into a final exam. If you feel you've prepared well going into the exam, you're going to do well. If you try to cram in the end, it's not going to work. So as long as you've covered all the bases going in and you're well prepared, you'll feel good about yourself and you'll be successful.
Do you usually tend to give the team a pep talk anyway?
Well, I would say it's more that we review what we've taught and gone over in the other team and what we would like to do and the things that might make us successful on that particular day. And it varies according to the teams you play. I mean, occasionally we'll give a pep talk, you know, a so-called pep talk, you know, putting everything on the line and trying to excel, trying to give 100%, 100% of the time, things of that nature. But that's more an individual thing, and I think that's throughout the course of the year you teach that. So it's not necessary to do it at the last minute. If a coach wants to win more than the athletes on the team, something's wrong.
If you had to single out one player in particular of your team who would be noted for their talents and their ability, basically, who would you say that is and why?
Well, that's a very tough question.
Tough question.
We had 4 guys that averaged between 14 and 16.7 points a game this year. 5th player was Justin Padvaiskis, who's from British Columbia. And he was the guy that, most unselfish player maybe we've ever had at Concordia, so he's the guy that gave him the ball. It's tough, but I guess if we did have to single out one, it would be Emerson Thomas. He's in his 5th year. He was honorable mention All-Canadian in his 3rd and 4th years, and his 2nd team All-Canadian this year. Emerson was our leader. He led through example, inspiration, work ethic, sort of just did everything. He's also in graduate school. He's a good student. He's up for Male Athlete of the Year in Canada. Next week in Calgary there'll be a dinner, and he's one of 6 finalists. I guess he's the one person that we could single out as sort of epitomizing the basketball program at Concordia, and not just because of what he's done on the court, what he's done in academically and the community work that he's done over the years. And we do a lot of clinics for high school kids. We have kids in practice all the time, and Emerson is always there to speak to them, and he's the one person.
I'm just wondering, do you encourage high standards in academics as well as good players, for instance? Do you have some sort of a program that might coordinate the two to help your students along?
Well, we do. I mean, we have a Student Athlete Academic Assistance Program, SASP, and Anna Johansson is in charge of that, and she does a tremendous job of monitoring the individual's progress and helping them organize their time and study skills, particularly for first-year student athletes when making the jump from a high school or CJEP to university is a big adjustment for most of them, and she's great with that. I also monitor their progress, and I mean, we have left players home from championship games. We left players home from league games because of a conflict with their classes, or they're not doing well in school, or whatever the case might be. I think that academics have to come first, and I think that in the basketball program, I think over the years, that's one of the selling points of the program, is that in 6 years, I said almost every athlete we've had has graduated. There's one who hasn't finished yet, and he'll be finished this year, and then we'll have a 100% graduation rate, which is probably unheard of in most institutions.
Yeah. And what would you say makes this year's team different as opposed to other teams in the past?
Well, I guess the one thing that would make this team different is probably the most athletic team that we've ever had, and potentially the best team we've ever had. I don't think it ever came together the way the team did in 1990 when we won the national championship, but potentially this was the upside was far greater with this team. Like all the teams we had, I think the one team that makes the basketball team at Concordia a little unique, and maybe men's and women's, is that the ethnic diversity on the team is reflected in the ethnic diversity in the university. And I don't think any of the other sports have that. And, that's kind of special, the way we're able to bring people from different backgrounds together to go after the same the goals and tasks.
Now here's a question that everybody's wondering about. Describe the rivalry between McGill and Concordia.
Is there a rivalry between McGill and Concordia?
I'd say so.
Wow. In the last 6 years, McGill has only beaten us twice. So I guess that because they're across town and the guys know each other and play against each other all summer long as well as during the year, there is a bit of a rivalry. They caught us once this year a little bit flat, and they beat us in overtime at McGill. I guess it just goes back to the proximity of the two universities, and McGill being sort of up on the hill and maybe Concordia on the other side of the tracks. But you know, the rivalry, it's a personal thing with the players and the athletes, and they know each other, and McGill has a few players from Quebec, not too many, and most of our players are from Quebec. So that's it. I don't think it's anything to get too excited about. People in the community get more excited than the athletes, I think.
Okay, well, that's all for today. I'm Sherrie Claridge, and our guest today was John Dore, head coach of the Concordia men's basketball team. Thanks for watching.